welcome back to Speaking from the Heart and How to Land Your First TED Talk. This is Gertrude Matcha here in beautiful Wellington, New Zealand. The question I got today is very interesting. It came in from Spain, and the question was, what are the business spin-offs from a TED Talk? I aim to write a book and be able to be invited to more speaking engagements. Wow, okay, the business spin-offs of being a TED speaker are numerous. You see, what happens is once you have the label that you are a TED speaker behind your name, people look at you differently. It is extremely challenging to be invited to be a TED speaker. So it makes people think twice about you as a speaker if you have had an opportunity to present on TED. It gives you that instant credibility that you're a person who has ideas that are worth listening to. As you all know, the tagline for TED is ideas worth spreading. People are aware of this. And the minute you say you're a TED speaker, people do look at you differently. So that is one of the biggest business spin-offs. The second spin-off is when I did my first TED Talk, my video went onto YouTube, and I started realizing I was getting more and more international speaking opportunities. So I live here on a small island in Wellington, New Zealand. There's 5 million people in this country, but I have spoken in 56 countries. I can't tell you how many cities in between in the last 15 years as a professional speaker. And all of that happened once I got on TED. I'll tell you one example. I got an invitation to be a guest lecturer at a university in Pittsburgh. The people who invited me were from a family that owned the football team called the Steelers, the Rooneys. Mrs. Rooney, wife of a billionaire, was a professor at a private university in Pittsburgh. And they were looking for scholars, authors, musicians, poets, philosophers to come to this university for 6 months and lecture. It was one of the most fascinating opportunities I ever got. I got to lecture 2 hours a week. I was given a fully furnished 5-bedroomed house and a car. And I was paid $10,000 to do 2 lectures, an hour each, every single week for 6 months. I actually came to the United States and wrote my second book while I was there. And what happened was that my book transferred from just being an ordinary memoir, a story about an African woman, to a textbook that is now being used in universities in social anthropology. So when I wrote my personal story, it's called Born on the Continent, Ubuntu. And Ubuntu is an African philosophy. A lot of people who Google the word Ubuntu find Linux software, which is what a lot of people know that word for. But the software was based on this ancient African philosophy. And I was aware that there weren't many books written about Ubuntu. And I accidentally branded myself as an Ubuntu expert, talking about a philosophy that I grew up with, that I know really well. And now I lecture in social anthropology because most universities around the world are looking for guest speakers in this field. So the business spin-offs that can come from being a TED speaker are amazing. You could be asked to come and speak in an organization because you've got some business ideas. You might be somebody in human relations and in human HR, human resources, and you have something to share. It all depends on what your content is. I started sharing different presentations from the different perspectives of what my life has been. So besides being a speaker, I call myself a serial social entrepreneur. I've had a business in human resource management. I had a recruiting agency here in New Zealand. I had a business in film. I had a business in tourism. I was a property investor. And all of those aspects of my life have created massive business opportunities for me as a speaker. So the more diverse your content is as well, the more business opportunities you will get. But everything that I do is woven into one thing, one idea, one message, which is the Ubuntu philosophy. And it can be applied to so many different platforms. So there are massive business opportunities that come once you become a TED speaker. You get your credibility, you get your visibility, because once you are online, even if you speak at an event where there's 5 or 6 people, the minute that TED video goes online, you're speaking to millions. So just like I'm speaking to you now, some of you found this video through my advertising, some of you found it by mistake through Google. I don't know how you came upon this video. Once your video goes online, you're reaching thousands of people. So good luck with that. Thank you for tuning in to Speaking from the Heart and landing your first TED Talk. See you tomorrow.